In 1329, the Byzantine emperor crossed into Anatolia for the last time. A single battle would determine everything. At Pelikanon, Emperor Andronikos III marched east to stop the rising Ottomans. He failed. This battle put an end to Byzantine dominance in Anatolia. In the spring of 1329, the Sea of Marmara was calm. But behind this calm, the end of an era was approaching. The walls of Constantinople were still standing. Hagia Sophia still rose high into the sky, yet the soul of the empire was struggling to survive. Byzantium had been a part of Anatolia for centuries, and now Anatolia was drifting away from Byzantium. Emperor Andronikos III was aware of this when he left the palace. This was not a campaign. This was a final attempt. If this too were to fail, everything would change forever. Byzantium grew impatient. It had waited long enough, and now time had run out. The emperor made his final decision. The soldiers were assembled. The calm was broken. This was not a gain. This was the empire's final march. At the turn of the century, Anatolia was shrouded in uncertainty. The Seljuk state had collapsed, and the Mongol threat had passed. Only small principalities remained behind. The Germianids, the Karasids, the Aidanids, and in the far west, pressed against the Byzantine border, a small beylik, the Ottomans. They were not very strong, but they stood at the frontier. And frontiers always carry the potential for expansion. After Osman Bey, his son Orhan chose 3 cities as his targets: Nicaea, Nicomedia, Bursa. If these cities fell, Byzantium would be in grave danger in Anatolia. And Byzantium was aware of this, but by then it was already too late. What had been lost was not only land, an irreversible time had also been wasted, and the price of this delay would now be paid on the battlefield. In the spring of 1329, the emperor personally took command of the army. This alone carried great meaning. If the emperor joins the battle, then the empire still stands. The army crossed the Sea of Marmara. It entered Anatolia. But this was not a conquest. This was an army bringing water to a fire. Yet the fire was already deep within the forest. The Ottoman forces did not retreat. They did not hide. They waited patiently in the region known as Pelikanon, around today's Maltep. This was not an open plain. It was terrain marked by narrow passes, hills, and a coastline at its edge. Unfavorable for the heavy Byzantine formation, perfect for the light and agile Ottoman troops. And the two sides faced each other. Hundreds of steps, hundreds of breaths, locked into a single silence. Both armies took their positions, the field filled with units arranged in orderly lines. The sides waited briefly before the final clash. No one made the first move. This was the last silence before the attack. This pause revealed that the clash was inevitable. Tensions accumulated over centuries were compressed into a single moment. The battle began in the morning hours. The Byzantine army was highly disciplined but slow in movement. The Ottoman soldiers appeared scattered, yet their movements were fluid. The struggle unfolded not like the collapse of a wall, but like the crashing of a wave. Hit-and-run tactics, withdrawals, and sudden assaults followed. As the Byzantine formation deteriorated, panic spread. And then an unexpected event occurred. The emperor was wounded. For a soldier, it was merely a simple injury. But for an army, it was devastation. The emperor withdrew. The banner was lowered. And at that moment everyone realized this battle could not be won. Byzantium stepped back. But what was left behind was not only an army. A claim was left behind as well. This was Byzantium's last true campaign in Anatolia. Afterward, Nicaea was lost, then Nicomedia. And Constantinople became trapped in its own darkness. The Ottomans were no longer just a frontier beylik. They were now a state. They had their own lands, borders, and a future. And that future would one day change the world. Pelekanon was not a great battle. But significant conflicts do not always involve vast armies. Sometimes an emperor's retreat is not the retreat of an era. In 1329, Byzantium lost Anatolia, and humanity entered a new story. The name of that story: the Ottomans.